Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's second video. We're doing the ECMWF per day / 6 weeks look at for today's second video. So we're going to look at mean soil pressure, 500 millibar, high anomaly temperature and precipitation anomalies for UK and for the rest of Europe as well, by the way, for the next 30 days, the next month. And we'll also include weeks 5 and 6 data within that too, because why not? Charts there, so might as well have a look. And yeah, I'll get on that for you in a moment. Just say it first video, say was our 6M upload. And we're a 10 to 14 dayer, including all of regular features that will be coming up for you later on this afternoon. Might be quite late this afternoon because I'll hang back and wait and see just how high today's maximum temperatures get. So probably that won't be up until like late afternoon, early evening, I would have thought. But we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Right, so just say I'm sitting in the dark. Actually, as I'm doing this, which is quite unusual. I don't think I might have done like 1 or 2 videos in the dark, but very, very unusual for me not to have any lights on when I'm recording. And I appreciate that, you know, it does show up all the flaws within my aging face and whatnot. But the reason I'm sat in the dark is that it's been an extraordinarily hot day here. Temperatures maxed out around 37 degrees, so it's getting on for 100 Fahrenheit, about 100 Fahrenheit here a few hours ago, and I had all the doors and windows and everything shut and curtains. Well, now of course it's dark, so I've been able to open up the doors, open up the windows and whatnot, and the curtains. So we're all open up now. But of course, the thing about it is, you put your lights on, you start getting all these little flies and things and moss and that coming in. I don't really mind them, to be honest, but I'd rather not have them fludging about, distracting me when I'm recording. So lights are off. I'm in the dark. And we'll do. Maybe you like Gav being in the dark. Let me know in the comments what you think. Whether you want to see more of Gav in the dark doing the weather. I'm so sorry, everybody. I'm a little bit giddy because it's been a very, very hot day, as I say, and it's got me just a little bit on the giddy side, you know. So it's the heat, but I'm going to try and be sensible. Anyway, right, okay, so let's do it then, shall we? Here we go then. So this is the week 1 mean soil pressure anomaly. It's the current week, 18th, 25th of July, showing quite a lot of high pressure. And quite a lot of high pressure around, to be honest, this week, especially across northern West Europe. We have got a trough of low pressure. It's had throughout most of the summer, actually, in the extreme northeast. So I've been cooler weather into the far northeast Europe. But otherwise, most areas are under this high pressure, which is locking in place the heat dome. Let's get rid of that. This should be 500 millibar height anomaly for week 1, the current week. Again, show a big area of above average heights across much of northern and I'm so sorry, Western Europe too. There's that trough of low in the east and the northeast, taking cooler air down into eastern and northeastern parts of Europe. So this is how the temperature anomaly is looking this week. Very, very hot, of course, across most parts of Western Europe in those fiery red colours. So we're going at around 6 to 10 degrees there. Above average, I think. Really, really warm. It is not cooler in the east and northeast as Europe, though. Right way down this extreme eastern side, much cooler, especially so like around the Black Sea and going up towards western parts of Russia and in towards Ukraine as well. Quite cool there. And Northern Scandinavia also looking relatively cool too. But it is very, very hot across central and western parts of Europe, like all the way from eastern Poland, right way towards Ireland and Portugal and all places in between. Really hot. The heat does extend into Scandinavia as well, southern Scandinavia anyway, for Denmark and southern parts of Sweden and Norway too. And precipitation-wise, there's lots of dry weather around actually in this week. So, particularly central parts of Europe, significantly dry. It's a little bit more unsettled to the north across central parts of Scandi and into far northwest of Russia. It's a little bit more unsettled through there. But generally, it's a dry scene in most areas. Maybe a little bit of precipitation coming up for Ireland and the UK, because there the precipitation was going from being drier than average to near normal or no signal. But it is a very dry week coming up in most areas. Right, this is how week 2 is looking. Remember, mean level pressure. This is going to be the 18th to 18th of no, it's not going to be the 25th of July. First of all, it has been a very long day with this heat, so you've got to bear with me. It's been one of those, been very tiring sort of day. This is week 2 from the 25th of July to the 1st of August. High pressure moving towards the eastern part of Europe. There's going to be a heat low down here through the Med, so that probably won't produce much in way of precipitation. And then this is, I think, proper low pressure across the northern part of Europe with projection coming in from off the Atlantic. And then this white area is like where we're in between higher pressure and lower pressure. Really, the 500 millibar height anomaly looks like that. So the high pressure begins to pull out to the west in towards the Atlantic with a trough of low pressure digging in over Northern Europe. Notice that the Mediterranean just have relatively high pressure, so with the mean level pressure anomaly, that's just a heat low down through the Med, and actually in terms of the 500 millibar height anomaly, it's relatively high pressure down in Mediterranean, so there will be lots of dry weather. The temperature anomaly looks like that, so it is becoming cooler across the northern parts of Europe. We see temperature going below average for Scandinavia, and it just remains cool, in the northeast of Europe, around those Baltic Sea states like Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania. Those areas remain, as they have been throughout the summer so far, really quite cool. It is getting a little bit cooler in towards northern parts of UK as well. Scotland and Northern Ireland getting a little bit cooler. Ireland as well. The Republic goes a little bit cooler. Going further south, and it's generally warmer though, so some parts of England and Wales still holding on to some warmth. And then anywhere south of that, it looks like the hot weather goes on really through most of France, Germany, and then of course down into the Mediterranean, like Italy looks very hot, as does southern France, Spain, Portugal, and no doubt Central Bowl of the Med quite hot too. Over the Adriatic in towards the Balkans, looks hot through there from the Adriatic to Black Sea, above average temperature. When we get to the Black Sea and go down in towards Greece, and it does get a little bit cooler perhaps. Precipitation-wise, for week 2, we look like that. So, again, just the idea it might be a little bit more unsettled across the far north of Europe. It's not particularly wet, but average to slightly above average with precipitation through there. Otherwise, a really dry scene in most areas. Could be a little bit more unsettled across parts of Scotland and Ireland, maybe, but most parts of Europe actually looking really dry, especially these western and central areas from France over towards Poland. It looks pretty dry through there. And of course, dry through the Mediterranean as well. That goes without saying at this time of the year. Any showers will be very isolated through the Med. Right, so week 3 will be the 1st to the 8th of August. Looks like that. So lower pressure perhaps coming into the northwest. But I expect all of this down here, again, just going to be like heat low through the Mediterranean. It won't produce much in the way of precipitation. The 500 millibar height anomaly looks like that. So we've got some higher pressure in the Atlantic, a little bit of a mid-Atlantic ridge through there. Some lower pressure in over Scandinavia. Maybe some high pressure over towards the east part of Europe as well. Otherwise, it's not all that clear what's going on. I expect there's a bit of a dip in jet stream in the 500 millibar flow. We're projecting something a little bit like that. Temperature-wise, in the first week of August, we look like this. So again, pretty cool in the far north, like Scandinavia and northeastern parts of Europe. Again, looking relatively average or a bit on the cool side. So no sign of the excessive heat from further south, in Europe, making it up into the far north. And actually, like the relatively cool Scandinavian and Baltic summer will continue. Elsewhere, above average temperatures, really. So, starting from Ireland and England and Wales and going anywhere south of that, it's generally going to be warmer than average, especially so again through central and eastern areas, like from Italy, around the Adriatic, into the Balkans, Hungary, for example. Again, could be really on the hot side. Most of the Mediterranean looking hot, as you'd expect, in the first week of August. A little bit cooler perhaps through Portugal, but that's an anomaly to average, so it will still be hot anyway through Portugal. And then the extreme eastern part of the Med, some of the Greek islands could be a little bit cooler too. Precipitation-wise, for week 3, it looks like that. Again, just a suggestion that it's a little bit more unsettled for Scotland, maybe Ireland, and like up to Scandinavia. So this area just here always looks like it's a little bit more unsettled, a little bit more low pressure, and just a little bit more of a niggle from a jet stream. Otherwise, again, we've got just lots and lots of dry weather across most western parts of Europe, dry weather across most eastern parts of Europe, and the Mediterranean also looks pretty dry as well. Into week 4, which is the 8th to the 15th of August, we look like that. Bit of a change this week. High pressure then begins to re-emerge across the northwest. So high pressure, also more or less centred over the UK and Ireland actually, but also reaching towards Scandinavia. So that is a bit of a change. Again, all of this blue down here, I expect just a heat low through the med. That won't produce much in the way of precipitation. 500 millibar high tide looks like that. Definite signs of ridging there for the 4th week. It's a long way off though, this 2nd week of August. Very, very long way away. But a higher pressure looks like it's beginning to ridge in from the Atlantic and going northwards as well. So that could suggest like summer arriving across northern parts of Europe. The temperature anomaly looks like that. Still a bit on the cool side, just to the west of Norway. But I expect it's probably warming a bit across Scandinavia, northeastern Europe, and the rest of Europe just looking generally very warm again, right way from the west all the way over to the east, really above average temperatures through there. Precipitation wise, the week 4, 8th to 15th of August, you can clearly see that ridge of high pressure turning things drier there in the northwest. So again, Ireland, UK focused back. Also low countries, Belgium, Poland, Netherlands, Denmark, southern Scandinavia therefore a little bit on the drier side. Still a bit on the wetter side in the extreme north, and then much of Eastern Europe. It's a weak signal, but perhaps relatively dry across the east of Europe too. Right, so that's a 30-day forecast done. We'll just extend through weeks 5 and 6 before we go. So this is week 5, mean cell pressure on it from 15th to 22nd of August. Looks like that. Weak signal. Again, all of this is going to be a heat low down here. These heat lows will start to generate precipitation eventually, but probably not to get into September and October. So for now, that probably won't do much in way of precipitation. High pressure pulling out into the Atlantic as well, by the look of it. 500 millibar height anomaly looks like that. So if anything be above average height, just begin to pull out to the west a little bit, but still reaching into the northwest of Europe, perhaps just hinting that it might be drier across the northwest of Europe. Temperature anomaly again pretty warm for most parts of Europe, warmer than average in the west, warmer than average in the east, maybe just these far northern areas a bit up the cool side, and the precipitation anomaly. It's a weak signal, but looking relatively dry in most areas. But is some precipitation being forecast there in southern parts of Italy and like around Corsica, Sardinia, so maybe just a little bit of wobbling beginning to take place, a few thunderstorms being generated. Sunny days for that though, really. And then the week 6 mean cell pressure on looks like this. It takes us from 22nd to 29th of August, so once more lower pressure, but probably most of it sort of heat loads across southern parts of Europe. 500 millibar height anomaly, looking very mysterious. The above average height looks like it's pulling away from us though, so that might start to send a jet stream in that sort of direction. Remember, come to late August, so by then we'll be got the first messages of the polar vortex getting going around Greenland. Jet stream will be starting to reinvigorate a little bit as well, probably, so it might be a hint, but late August begins to turn a little bit more unsettled perhaps. Temperature only though still looks quite warm in most areas, right from the west all the way towards the east, and the precipitation anomaly lastly looks like that. So again, weak signal, but still pretty dry really across most areas, still hints at being either no signal or average, or even a bit drier than average right way to the end of August. Okay, so that's it for your EC 30 days / 6 weeks look ahead. In the dark, you've seen Gav in the dark. What do you think? Would you like to see more atmospheric videos of Gav in the dark? Maybe, I don't know. I'm so sorry, everybody. Yeah, but that's it. We'll do it over again next Tuesday. The next extended European Outlook will be next Tuesday and we'll see what happens then. Of course, we will look at this model again on Saturday, though, with a focus on the UK and Ireland too. We'll be back later on, probably much later on, with the 10 to 14 day, and that will let you know how hot it has been today. Will we get a new UK temperature record? Will we get to 40 degrees? It will all be revealed later on in the 10 to 14 day. But for this week's EC Extended, that's all for now. And thanks for watching.